Hey everybody, my name is Kyle Wlodyga. I'm a toy designer and toy collector, and I'm here today to talk to you about my top 5 favorite toys in my collection. Number 5, I guess, is the Trendmasters Godzilla. This is the 10-inch one. This is my original one. You can tell because the tail snapped off. I do have the rest of the tail. It just, the glue that I put on there never really took. So I do have all the parts, but this is my original Godzilla from that line. I was like 5 or 6 when I got this, and it really inspired my love of Godzilla. And the best part is, and I'm sorry for my homie who's on audio here, is that the sound still works. Hopefully that's picking up. I love this guy. And best part about Trendmasters is they always roar one more time than you think they're going to. I always forget that there's 3 instead of just the 2. But I love this guy. He's big, he's yoked. Like, this is kind of the like power of the force of Godzilla. Like, look how buff this dude is. This is like linebacker Godzilla. I love him. His eyes work too. Still, look at that. A gem of a toy. One of my favorites. Number 5, Trendmasters 10-inch Godzilla. Coming in at number 4 is something that a little bit more modern, and I actually had to work to get this to a collectible point that I really wanted it to be at. So number 4 is my DC Collectibles, or DC Direct if you're nasty, animated series Batmobile. However, this one is very special because this one I got signed by none other than Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, which was a lot of fun actually to try and get both of these signatures. The Paul Dini one was a freebie at the office I was working at the time. Paul Dini was coming in for some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of pitch or whatever, but we were showing him around the office, and I had heard he was coming early, and so I like brought my Batmobile out and like, oh, hey, like, look, yeah, and then there's like a silver Sharpie here. If you want to, I mean, you don't have to sign it if you don't want to, but if you want to sign it, you can sign it. He was super nice about it. But then that same year I ended up having, you know, I knew that Bruce Timm was going to be around, and I wanted him to sign it also. So, you know, I ended up lugging this guy in my backpack through San Diego Comic-Con to go to Bruce Timm's booth, get him to sign it. He was super cool about it. I think it cost me $5 for a signature, and we took a photo with it, and it's still one of my favorite Comic-Con moments. And so getting the creators of Batman the Animated Series to sign my Batmobile, one of the more fun collecting kind of hunts that I got to go on. And so this guy is number 4, the DC Collectibles Animated Series Batmobile, signed. Number 3, we're getting a little bit into like the egocentrism section of this top 5 here. But when I was a kid growing up, Turtles were kind of a thing of the past. I was really into Power Rangers. That was like the big thing that came out around that time. It wasn't until I was like 12 or 13 when a new animated show of Turtles came out in 2003 called the 2003 Turtles. Amazing, beautiful, what a name, right? Very original. And that really was my introduction to the Turtles. And so I got to connect with those characters. I really understood Turtles lore and who they were and all that stuff through that show specifically. So during my time at Super 7, when we had the opportunity to work on 2003 Turtles, I jumped for joy. I was so excited, I was ecstatic. And I really threw my heart and my soul and all of my design knowledge and passion into these characters. And so number 3 here is the Super 7 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I realized that there are 4 of these guys who are now falling apart. All right, you can keep most of that preamble though, right? I don't have to like go through that again. Okay, so I'll start with like coming in at number 3 is. Yeah. All right, and so coming in at number 3 is the Super 7 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I realize that I'm cheating here a little bit because there's 4 of them. However, to me, this is all one big happy family and therefore one big number 3 spot. I love these guys. I'm very proud of how they turned out. It's a great kind of swan song to my career at Super 7. I'm very grateful to everybody who supported this and purchased these, and I'm excited to see what they do with the rest of the line. Number 2 in this top 5 here has a little bit more of a story to it. So when I got the job at Super 7, it was in 2018. I actually went to DesignerCon and I did my interview there. And you know, it was an interview at a convention. It was very low key, very laid back. I was wearing a Ghost shirt like I am now, like I do most days. And my interview was with Brian, Flynn, and Josh, and we were just talking about stuff and toys and, you know, oh, have you done this? And oh, have you done that? You know, normal interview questions or whatever. But then, you get to the point in the interview where you start asking them questions, because you got to remember, interviews are as much for you as they are for the people who are interviewing you for the job. And I was like, are you doing anything like that you're excited about? Like, if I joined tomorrow, what would it look like? And they're like, oh, well, if you join tomorrow, like, you would get like some Ninja Turtles, some Transformers, maybe something like that. And I was like, what are you excited about? And they're like, oh, well, we're working on some heavy metal stuff that's really, really cool. I was like, heavy metal? Like, what are you working on? They're like, oh, we got some Motorhead, we got some Megadeth, we got some Slayer, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, you guys should make Ghost figures. Like, they're super toyetic, they're super fun. Like, it'd be really rad if you had like Ghost figures. And they kind of like looked at each other like side-eyed, and they go, we already are. And I was like, what? I got really excited, and I was like, can I see the figure? And they're like, sure, I guess. And so they pull out their phone and they like show me the figure, and it was just a rough like wax sculpt at that point. And it looked pretty good, but at the same time, I couldn't help myself. My like fan nerd designer brain just went into like mode, like fix it mode, and I was like, well, that looks dumb, and you should fix this, and this is bad, and this is like incorrect, and blah, blah, blah. And I like tore it apart, and they're like, yeah, okay, nerd, like, whatever, like, thanks. And they like put their phone away, and then I left, and I was like, cool, I like for sure didn't get that job. I like totally bombed, didn't make it happen. But I did eventually end up getting that job, and one of the first things I did on staff in the office was correcting the mistakes that I called out on that Ghost figure. And so my number 2 is the test shot of that Ghost figure that got me that job at Super 7. This is the thing that I tore apart to Brian Flynn's face that eventually got me the job. So there's a lot of nostalgia and a lot of memories with this guy, with this Papa Emeritus III from Ghost. Last but certainly not least, my number 1 is going to be the Super 7 Thirsty for Blood Dark Horse Godzilla. This figure was a labor of love. I pitched it because the Dark Horse Godzilla comics run with Art Adams is like super important to me and who I am as an artist. When I was like 5 or 6 years old, my grandfather bought me that original Art Adams cover where he's got the blood on his face, he's coming out of the water, and it says he's thirsty for blood, all that stuff. Like, it's burned into my brain, and it's like part of the DNA of who I am as an artist. Because I got that comic, I kind of knew who Godzilla was. I didn't know that there was this whole world and there were stories you could be told. It was kind of like my first like comic too, so like it opened up the whole world of sequential art to me, and I just started copying and drawing the Godzillas that I had there. And so this guy it was like seeing that dream kind of realized, and being able to like pay back to the people who like made me the artist I am today. So the figure is super rad. What's even cooler is the box. The box has that actual art on there with his bloody mouth, and it wraps around. See the tail and all that. It's kind of like explodes the whole thing. Like, if you flatten this out, it'd be a really cool print of like giant Godzilla. But then we got to like do his eyeball from like the panel. But what's even cooler about this one is that at the Comic-Con that this was exclusive to, Art Adams was working and like had a booth there. Turns out that he's a friend of the CEO, Brian Flynn, and they got to talking, and Art showed up and came to the booth, and I got to talk to him and be like, oh man, like this comic means so much to me, like I got to do this figure, like thank you for being so cool about it. And I was like, would you be okay if you like signed my figure? Which he did, which was super rad of him, because it comes off like this, and you can see that there. He signed it up at the top. And he said, yeah, I'll sign yours, but will you sign mine? And I was like, oh my God, like my heart like melted, because it was like so cool to like meet Art Adams, have him appreciate my work, because I know that he's a huge Godzilla collector too. And like, because just having him like recognize me after me studying his work for years was like one of those like true only at Comic-Con kind of moments, and I'm always very, very grateful. So that's why this guy's in the #1 spot on my top 5.